I would like to dig deeper into the reasoning of why you thought that was your view of the American dream at the time.
Okay.
So I have a couple questions for you. First one, why do you think creating a better life for your children than your parents or yourself is what you thought of the American dream at the time?
Well, I think when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, 17, 18 years old, I still had grandparents who were living. And my grandparents were very active in my life. And so I knew a lot about their childhood. And they were old enough to have gone through both world wars, actually. World War I and then World War II in particular. My grandfather was in the Navy in World War II, for example. So they went through some really hard times in their lives, and food rationings, and people going bankrupt, and just really hard times financially. So they suffered through that as kids, and they had a strong desire to achieve, to overcome that, and to achieve and create a better life for themselves, as well as a better life for their children than what they went through. So I really think it had to do with my grandparents mostly.
Okay. How did your ethnicity impact your view on the American dream?
Well, I grew up in an Italian family. My mother's side of the family was Italian. And so, again, my grandparents, my mother's parents, and my mother, and her sister and our Italian family, very close-knit family, grew up in an Italian community within Philadelphia, and then progressed as they got in a better financial situation, progressed to the suburbs. And I think the view that they had was that education was the key to achieving success, to achieving the American dream. So they all became super educated, and thereby got better jobs than they would have had as Italian, bricklayers or masons or whatever, and became lawyers and doctors because they became well educated. And so, I think their roots in an Italian community is what spurred that motivation to become highly educated and to achieve.
Okay. How did your family's circumstances influence your opinion on the American dream at the time?
Yeah, well, because my grandparents were very successful and my parents were very successful, I grew up in a pretty lucky situation. We're not wealthy, but we were fortunate, and so I think that my circumstances created a platform that was higher, a standard that was higher, so that my American dream is achieving financial success, maybe at a different level than it was for previous generations, where it was simply a matter of we're going to work to own our own home, for example. But I think that the standard for us was, higher than that, and to achieve financial independence might mean to have a retirement fund that would be adequate. That sort of thing, not just to own a home.
All right. Are there any specific people or events that helped shape your view on the American dream?
My family, for sure. My grandparents, my mom's Italian grandparents, for sure, and my parents. And then my father's mother, my grandmother on my father's side, lived with us. And she certainly had was a factor in influencing me to be successful and to achieve. Yet she wasn't in the financial success that my mother's family was, but yet she was a school teacher and believed strongly in education. So all my family, I think, are the ones that helped create that view for me.